Hare Krishna. We are reading from this wonderful book called The Nectarean Ocean of the Holy Name by His Holiness Sacinandana Swami. We are on the seventh offense. Before that, we'll read the other offenses. Number one, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number two, to consider the names of the demigods like Shiva or Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination or exaggeration. 6. To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. And 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. On this, we saw there are three different stages of sin as per the Vedas. Number one, ignorance. Number two, the desire to commit a sin. Number three, the sinful act in itself. So there are two types of sins that has been explained in this book. One is intentional, another one is unintentional sins. Let's read that. It is important to distinguish between intentional and unintentional sins. If a devotee commits a sin without purpose, a so-called accidental fall down, this sin is only temporary and will be washed away by the power of the holy name. But if a person commits intentional sins, thinking the bad effect will be washed off by the power of the holy name, then he cannot be regarded as a serious devotee. He is a cheater and will have to feel the bitter result of his offenses, that is, fear, lamentation, and eventually death. Even the mere thought of committing a sin with the intention to annihilate it later through the strength of the holy name cannot be compensated by any remedy. What to speak of someone who actually commits the offense? He is not more than a show bottle devotee, for only a materialist can think like that. Such a person cannot be engaged in devotional service. In, in no case is it allowed to commit sins, thinking they will be forgiven by the strength of the holy name. We must not think of it at all. Where is the borderline between the two kinds of sin? Whereas a smaller or a greater blunder is unintentional, we speak of intentional sins if they are premeditated or planned in advance. In the in the previously mentioned offenses, there were always possibilities to neutralize them. Here, for the first time, the consequences are very severe. It is through the process of devotional service that one attains perfection. But if one rejects this process, especially by abusing the unique strength of the holy name for the fulfillment of sinful desires, then his lifespan, mind, and words will be ruined. No one should think himself to be in an unamicable position due to his chanting and being situated in spiritual life. These thoughts and their succeeding actions have disastrous effects. A neophyte may consider himself to be in an especially privileged situation as he lives now in Krishna consciousness. He may think that now, being protected by the power of devotional service, he can do what his mind and senses dictate to him. This is the this is the this is the I am saved syndrome. As long as one is on the stage of Namabhasa, he has to be aware of this offense. If we are in bad association, we are likely to return to our bad habits. Last paragraph. For example, many devotees were previously great fans of rock and roll music. After some time in Krishna consciousness, they hear the rock rolling stones again and get into circles where they used to go before their new life. Thus, it may happen that they attend a concept of the stones, cultivating the company of their former friends, and again they are entangled in sinful life. Therefore, it is very dangerous to cultivate bad association. So the gist of this session is one should not make unintentional sins. Unintentional sins are forgiven as devotees, but then if you are making intentional sins, then one has to suffer for that one. And we discussed this also in one of the previous session. Devotees are forgiven for unintentional sins, but if it's intentional and one does not repent for that, then they will have to be suffering for that one. And the second point is that one should not think that um, I commit a sin and then I chant some extra rounds and that will nullify my sin. That is also not a right mentality being a devotee. One should try not to get into any intentional sinful activities. Now we can have some discussions either on this topic or outside of this topic. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, like sins means what can we consider as a sin for chanting Prabhu? Like intentional or intentional, what either of them? Unintentional.
Unintentionally, where you stepped on a devotee, right? You're walking and then you step on a devotee, or your feet touch the devotee. That's not what you intentionally did it. So that will be forgiven. And whereas intentionally, unintentionally is that one. Intentionally is you go and fight with a devotee, or intentionally you want to try onion uttapam intentionally, right? This is something on the food level, right? We want to satisfy your senses, um, or things like that. It is okay to buy something and eat with garlic uh, or onion, um, on those levels. Then it's an intentional thing, thinking that it's okay, I'm chanting will nullify these things, or I can chant another extra round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra for that mistake that I did. Right? Those are the things could be an intentional thing.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
I just told a very simple scenario that could be serious as well. Serious sense, intentionally done. Um, for example, this is something few years back. Someone was one devotee. This is quite, I wouldn't say amazing, not pleasant. That few years back, that one devotee was telling me, Prabhu, if you have problem with that particular, if that person does not cooperate, that person does not do service, and etc. etc. I have a way to put that person into control. And I asked, what is the idea? What plan you have? How can we make that person be more sincere and engage? This is not congregation. This is other place without going to the detail. And that person was telling the best thing is to, um, you know, uh, tell, send a mail or message or scare him saying that, um, you know, he has some relationship uh, uh, with some Matajis. You do this one, and then you'll be on a case and we'll be out of this place. I was really bewildered, totally upset with that type of approach. That is intentional. Intentionally, you're accusing some devotee. Intentionally, you're going to talk bad about the devotees. just because to remove the problems from our side. That those are all very serious offenses. And then sometimes people want to try out to the bad habits. They want to go and have a drink, right? And then next day morning come and attend Mangala Aarti and chant extra rounds, and then thinking that that will take care of it. Holy name is powerful. It will remove all the sins. Things like that. Or even there's another, see, I'm giving another example. Or um, being a devotee. This is all happened, by the way. I'm not making up stories here, and it's still happening. So a devotee is running a Bhakti Vriksha program, and he's a brahmachari. He goes to the homes and runs a Bhakti Vriksha program, and then husband and wife are offering their house to hold the program. And soon enough, and the wife is missing at the home. And husband was surprised. And the news is that the Prabhu, or that person was coming and taking classes, and then wife of that host ran away. Ran away. They have a separate life. The husband was completely gone. So these are all offenses. Being a devotee, how um, we should be very careful. Intentional sins. These are all intentional sins. And I could have stopped with just uh, onion uttapam, but I thought there are more serious offenses that one may commit, thinking that chanting, I'm devotee, that's all will be taken care. I can continue to do all nonsense. That's not what it is.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, but I want to add one more question for this, Prabhu. Like, what if they are like neophytes in Krishna consciousness, but still they are eating onion, garlic, and chanting, Prabhu? Does is
They're, as you said, they're neophyte.
right?
Every most of the people start like that.
Mm,
So they have a concession, and they'll be given always there is a time period.
right. Okay. Okay.
After that cannot continue saying I'm neophyte. We all devotees say that I'm lower. I am all those things. We continue ourselves. We still neophyte. Those
Mm,
are excuses to simply say I'm neophyte and continue simple activities. We all know. But what is real neophyte means? They don't have a real understanding of the philosophy. They are not fully into it yet. All the evidence, someone has told them to chant, they are chanting. And this is exactly what we also do when we are talking to new people. We don't go and tell them, please, before chanting, stop eating onion, garlic, all these other items, and then start chanting. We don't do that. The chanting, you continue chanting, the chanting will purify that person. Once the stage of purification happens, after that, you don't go back thinking about those things. That is falls on that person after some point.
okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Otherwise, no one can ever become devotees if that is a requirement for a neophyte to start Krishna consciousness without engaging into onion, garlic, and meat and egg and all those different things. That's not possible.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anyone else have any questions? It says there is nothing we can. I can either continue reading or we can chant. It's all your call.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Like even like deity worship, Prabhu. Like if they're eating onion, garlic, can they do deity worship too, Prabhu? Like dressing Laddu Gopal or Krishna, Laddu Gopal especially, Prabhu. Like, can we do deity worship when we are like when someone is eating
And garlic.
onion and garlic, Prabhu?
Strictly speaking, no.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah, strictly speaking, no.
Mm.
No, you don't want. The onion garlic smells. Seriously,
Mm.
it just smells. Why you want to go? It smells not just from the mouth, from the pores of our body. I shouldn't say this one, but because I have to tell anyway. You just put a person who's eating onion garlic in your house overnight, close the door, let the person sleep. Next day, you open and enter that room. Just you can smell it. I'm not exaggerating this. It's serious. Who's eating onion garlic, and then put them in a room, let them sleep over at your house. Next morning, you just open and enter the house. The first thing is you just feel that the smell. It's not coming from their mouth. It's coming from their body. It's pore. The body has a lot of pores that get released. The gas get released through these pores. It's a smell. Why you want to go in front of the deities with onion garlic? It's not nice.
But can we tell them, Prabhu, because they are very good devotees? If they don't know, can we like let them know that we couldn't do? Or if they're still doing, do they need to stop it, Prabhu? Like if they don't want to stop eating onion garlic, do they need to stop deity worship then, Prabhu? Like because they already started it.
Yeah, this is where the problem is. One should not start deity worship without the blessings of an acharya. Without the blessings, if an acharya is not there, the guru is not there, at least from some seniors, some devotee consulting. Without consulting, we cannot just simply go out of emotions. We should not just go ahead and start doing the deity worship. It's a serious matter having a deity and doing a deity worship. So they already started this one. Now we are trying to find a solution,
Mm.
right? And it's going to be offensive for them if you're going to tell them, please stop doing this one. We are trying to find a route after creating a problem. So it's going to be offensive for them if you're going to say that don't do this one. But
Oh,
if you get an opportunity to somehow or the other uh, convey the message in a much palatable way where they don't get offended, I would recommend you do that one.
sure, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah. The thing is that as long as we don't talk anything negative, we are all good friends. If we start talking, pointing out wrong things, we become enemies. So you don't want to spoil your relationship with them. Do it carefully in such a way that they are um, accepting
Yes,
in
Prabhu.
some way or the other, right? Or you can tell them, here are the materials for deity worship. You can read this one. In that period, I found this material, and
Mm.
why don't you read this material and it will be useful for your deity worship? Some things like that. Or send a lecture which talks about deity worship. Something like that will help, rather than it comes out directly from us.
Right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
But
Prabhu, have,
but the thing is that we should encourage deity worship. We should encourage because that's purifying, very purifying. It only purifies when we follow the rules of deity worship. We follow cleanliness is so very important. Whether we are internally clean or not, that's going to take some time. Externally, we have to be clean. The external cleanliness also includes the food that we eat, right? So that it changes our consciousness. And you can point them to the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna speaks about different ahara,
Mm.
satvika ahara, and so forth. Right, 17th or 18th?
17.
17th.
Okay, 17th. 17th chapter. So it's, you can point out these things, and somehow or other they get to know these things, then they may change by themselves within, right?
Mm.
Okay, Srinivas.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, the same point me and Anjali was discussing. How do we tell here the people? Because only five families are really interested in devotees towards the Krishna consciousness, even though some of them are not initiated like us. But the remaining people, how do we convey this message? Because they are insisting us, because we started, right? Because they are very close friends to us, other than these five. There are another five families, but how do we tell them? Because they want to participate in the potluck. Because I cannot tell them this is a straightforward, this is what the rules are, but I don't want to lose them as well in this. How do we communicate?
It's simple. The whole purpose of your gathering there is to discuss from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or whatever it is, right? That's the purpose, correct?
Correct.
In other words, you're doing a puja at your home. You're inviting people. It is not actually literally a puja, sort of puja, where you do all the homa or yajna. But this is also a puja, it's a yajna. So if you're doing a puja or yajna at your home, naturally there are some restrictions what you can bring, what you cannot bring. It's just obvious. They cannot, if you're doing say for puja, you're doing
Sacinandana Swami Vipam.
yeah, Satyanarayana puja or something, or they don't you tell them bring these type of food for the puja? They
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
simple, the same thing. Therefore, reading Bhagavad Gita is another one. It's just
Yeah.
you're not reading a Harry Potter novel here where they can
Yeah.
lay chips and all those different coke and all those things. It's not the party here. It's a spiritual party. Then spiritual party has its own restrictions. Then you can tell them, we'll be very happy. It will be very helpful if you can also bring items. You can bring salad. You can bring fruit salad. You can make some sweets.
Oh,
You
see.
can make some you can make some poha. You can make some
Mm.
khichdi. But please
Yeah.
just make sure that you do not add onion, garlic, and keep it in a separate vessel. So when you bring it, we are going to offer it over here in front of the picture. Radha
Okay.
Krishna picture. So we want to offer it. So please bring it in such a way, and also do not taste when you're cooking, so we can
Yeah.
offer it. It's all simple thing. I don't think there should be a problem in conveying this message.
Okay, Prabhu. We'll do that.
Yeah. And if someone is having too much of thing, then you can just tell them, okay, if you want to participate, but you cannot follow this guidelines, then maybe you can buy and come water bottles. You can give plates. You can get spoons and napkins.
Yeah.
Uh, and many, or you can get the fruits without cut. Get the fruits. We'll offer it here. We can make a salad at home. You can help us making the salad. There are many ways that we can engage these people and without offending them.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If anyone doesn't have a question, I can go, Prabhu. Like, if you have deities at home and you haven't started like dressing the deities, Prabhu, we do rest of the deity worship, like offering bhog every day on time, but we haven't started dressing him, Prabhu, yet. Like, what do you suggest on that, Prabhuji?
Do I suggest on dressing the deity?
Yeah, we haven't started it because like Prabhuji wants to do that, but I am little scared because you have to be so disciplined in doing that. If you miss a day, like it hurts me. Like,
Okay.
do
So what you can do is instead of doing because you don't want to fail on your commitment, what you can start with is do once in a week on a Saturday or a Sunday.
mm,
Right? Just start with once in a week, and then let that continue for a few weeks, and see how the consistency, how consistent you are in doing that one, and then you can increase for a couple of days and so forth. Gradually doing that. That's another easy way to do. You're not making a big commitment.
okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that you can do. Okay, anything else? If
Yeah.
not,
One question, Prabhu. Sorry.
yeah, no, no,
So what do we do if we have to go on a vacation or somewhere? What do we do to the deities then?
so what you can do, there are a few options are there. One option is you you let the you can take the deities with you. That's option number one. If you can do that, take the deities with you and continue your worship wherever you go. Number one. Number two is you can give the deities to another sincere person who has done deity worship or doing deity worship. You can let the deities under the care of that devotee. They can take care of the deities while you're out. Number three is if that is also not possible in your place, everyone is new, no one knows any of these things, then what you can do is you can dress the deities and take a picture of the deity and continue your wherever you're going, continue your offering and whatever you're doing, the basic things, you can continue doing those things as well.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Mhm. Anything else? Okay. If nothing else, we'll continue for another 6 more minutes chanting the chanting. Is it okay? Okay. Thank you. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna Krishna